Hi, everyone. Can Marco Rubio revoke the Palestinian protester? His name is Mahmoud Khalil's green card. Uh, so basically, this is something that's been in the news on Saturday. The This Palestinian protester, his name is Mahmoud Khalil, was arrested by the Trump administration, basically citing that uh, you know he is deportable. And basically, the Trump administration arrested him. He's a permanent resident. He's a student at Columbia University, also the same university that President Trump pulled $400 million in funding. Um, and so, what has he done? Basically, he's been involved in pro-Palestinian protests, and he's basically being called by Donald Trump, claiming he's a radical foreign pro-Hamas student, and his detainment is the first arrest of many to come. So this is very, a scary thing because obviously he was exercising his First Amendment. He's a green card holder, and while I don't get into politics, but the fact of the matter is that this has been a war that's been going on for some time, not just the last couple of years, but many years. And, basically Palestine's ability to have a free state is now being questioned as Trump says he wants to basically buy it and put a Trump Tower in it. And so what's dangerous is that basically he's a green card holder. So what they're citing is the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1952, which allows the Secretary of State, who's Marco Rubio now, to declare someone deportable if they have reasonable ground to believe that the immigrant's presence or activities in the U.S. would have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the United States. So, he's been protesting. I'm sure, whether you stand whatever side of, you're pro-Palestinian, or you think Palestine shouldn't have any kind of rights, then it doesn't really matter. What matters here and what's really serious is that basically they arrested someone for practicing their First Amendment right. And now, what will Rubio have to provide is clear and convincing evidence in court that Khalil is this massive security problem. And I really just find it hard to believe that this one person is, or even any of those protesters really that are protesting on school campuses, are a security threat. It's just, it's kind of silly to be, if you think about it, that these people who are just protesting. And so what it's doing is basically they're trying to scare other people from coming out, especially if you're like on an F1 student visa and protesting. And so this is going to have a really chilling effect. Basically, the Trump administration is just saying that, we can arrest whoever disagrees with, what we think. And, these people are also being coined as anti-Semitic. And I don't know if necessarily, standing up for your own country or, your right to have a free sovereign state is necessarily being anti-Semitic, but that's unfortunately the rhetoric and the way that people are twisting this to make these people, including Mahmoud Khalil, basically, justify it. And these words have consequences. Basically, the House Speaker Mike Johnson recently said, if you're on a student visa and you're an aspiring young terrorist who wants to prey upon your Jewish classmates, you're going home. So I'm not, obviously there's been some incidents where, these protests have gone out of hand, but for the House Speaker to, call them aspiring young terrorists for protesting peacefully, for the most part. I mean, other than there's been some break-ins and stuff like that into school properties. And I mean, my heart goes out to, any Jewish classmates who, were preyed upon. I'm sure that they, did feel insecure and they did feel attacked. But the fact of the matter is that they are taking it too far by doing this. And if we just stand aside and say nothing and allow the Trump administration now to start arresting anybody who they disagree with, we're in for a rude awakening. And so we have to, keep in mind that this is an act that basically has to show that he's like a national security threat. And I just think it's silly that they would think somebody who's protesting, that they're going to be able to prove this in court. I don't think they're going to be able to prove it in court. And most recently, the judge halted the deportation of the Palestinian activists whose arrest was celebrated by Trump, obviously. So we'll see how this all plays out. Obviously, Trump also has a travel ban that's coming out soon, and it's under the executive order titled "Protecting the United States from Foreign Terrorists and Other." What is this going to do? This is basically going to prevent everybody and anybody who is in those countries from coming, whether they have any ties to any kind of terrorist organization or any kind of threat to the United States. They're just going to be banned just because of their nationality. Those countries that are on this red list are Sudan, Venezuela, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, Iran, Libya, Cuba, North Korea. So, we'll have to wait to see once they basically release this and how it goes. But obviously, the Trump administration, one of the things that they're doing is taking a very strict stance and really, in a lot of ways, violating constitutional rights of people. So, again, I don't really get into the politics of this, but I think this is related to immigration, and I wanted to make a quick video. If you have any questions, you can reach me at rodarmandelaw.com. Take care, guys.